Welcome back, everyone, to the Third Life Crisis podcast. We want to thank you for deciding to check us out today, and we are excited to start the episode.
For those of you who don't know us, we are three friends discussing our journeys from our 20s to our third life crisis, so join us on this wild adventure.
My name is John Michael, and I have Cassie and Austin on the other end of the mics. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Hello.
Today is Tuesday, January 22nd, and today we have an interesting and different kind of episode for y'all. Aside from the normal trio being here, we have our first guest ever on the podcast today. Everyone say hello to my wife, Jessica.
Hello.
Hey.
Say something.
You said everyone say hello too, so I was waiting for them to say hello to me.
Okay. Well, hello. So we thought we'd do a few episodes like this season to add a new perspective to what we talk about. And today is the first one, so babe, welcome.
Thanks.
So to get started, let's talk about this extended weekend we all had. It was MLK Day yesterday, the 21st. So 3 out of 4 of us had the extended weekend because Jessica got to work, unfortunately. But
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So really quickly, what did you guys do? Let's start there because I know you guys have a lot to say, Austin and Cassie. How did your weekend go?
It was good. We went to Boston for an extended weekend. Stayed a little bit longer than we wanted to, but we had a lot of fun. It was super cold, so that was an experience in itself. Plus all the sightseeing and things we got to do. But I had a great time.
No, I had a great time too, but like Cassie said, we had to stay a little longer than expected, but it was all good.
What happened? Was it the weather or what?
Yeah.
Storm Harper is what they called it.
Yeah, Winter Storm Harper.
How cold was it?
At the coldest, it was 3 degrees where we were at.
Like outside, while y'all were outside?
Yes.
Was that the feel-like temperature or the actual temperature?
The actual temperature. The feel-like was like negative 16, negative 17.
Oh, shit. Just would have died.
And yeah, they couldn't de-ice the runway. At Boston Logan Airport, they only had one runway open, and the plane we needed was there, but the flight crew was coming on a different plane from Houston that couldn't land, and we were delayed several hours.
So what did the plane do? Just circle?
I don't know what it did. I don't know if it just took off later or if it landed somewhere and then came over or what. But
y'all were affected by it.
Yeah, I mean, so our flight was delayed, and there were other flights that were delayed as well as canceled.
Oh, yeah. If you were flying to Chicago
Or Denver,
your flight was totally canceled. You were going to be stuck there till the next day.
at least the next day.
Yeah, some were saying until maybe even Wednesday. So, I hope they got out.
So you were texting me. So what exactly happened? You were delayed in Boston, flew out of Boston eventually, and then stayed the night extra in St. Louis?
You can call it that, stayed?
Our flight out of Boston was originally planned for like 5:25 p.m. on Monday. We got to the airport, and as we go through the check-in through TSA and all that, and as we're walking to the gate, I get an update from my Google Flights that shows our flight has been delayed and is now not leaving until 7:15. And so we get there, and there's people, everyone's talking, but basically, yeah, it's delayed. And then so we're sitting, and granted, we got to the airport 2 hours before our 5 o'clock flight, so now we're waiting there for 4 or 5 hours for our flight. So we're there, and then I get another update before Southwest even says anything, again from Google, that states that our flight is now delayed till 8 something that night. And the first time it was delayed, no big deal. We would land with enough time to get to our connecting flight in St. Louis. But then when it got delayed again to 8:15 or 8:20, that flight was not going to get to St. Louis until after our connecting flight had already taken off. And unfortunately, that connecting flight was the last flight out of St. Louis from Southwest. So we knew once it had changed to 7:15 departure time that we were
stay.
going to be stuck in St. Louis.
So what, you slept in the airport or got a hotel?
So that was the thing. We had to decide because it was like you can have the first flight out of here. And the lady was very helpful. She was telling us, she was pretty honest. She was like, if you're going to take the first flight, I wouldn't recommend getting a hotel because by the time you get to the hotel, you can maybe sleep 4 hours. Then you have to go back through TSA and then get on your plane. Or if you get a later flight, yeah, you can sleep in, but, you'd get here later. So we had decided to take the earlier flight, and we had already used one of our free rooms. So we were out of free rooms, and we would only be sleeping, maybe 4 or 5 hours, Austin?
Right.
And then we would be boarding the plane. So we decided to just stay at St. Louis Airport and sleep there. So by the time we got there, it was midnight. I really thought there was more people trying to get to Love Field, but I think it was just us 4 and maybe 2 other people, because it wasn't everybody who was on that flight from Boston to St. Louis. That was their final destination. They left. They were gone.
Right.
So
Let me just tell you, the floor is hard and cold.
I was gonna say first of all, that sounds exhausting, but secondly, where did you sleep?
So I had come prepared with a neck pillow and a blanket, but all there are those hard chairs, and you can't move the armrest to lay out, and you can't fit under the armrest, right? So that's not an option. Gone. I laid out like a scarf on the floor, but the floor was so hard. It's carpeted, but it's like that really thin carpet, right? Because a bunch of people are stepping all over it. So it wasn't comfortable at all. And when I would get into a comfortable position, you could feel the cold seep through your clothes and your whole body's cold. And for some reason, Austin, I don't know, he had a great argument, but it was freezing in that airport. It felt like I was in a meat locker. I was so cold. I fell asleep for maybe 2 hours, and then I woke up because I was so cold. And so I put on 2 more layers, and I was still cold.
How did you sleep, Austin?
I was fine. I just slept in one of the chairs. I stayed awake till 1:30, and then I slept for an hour, woke up, walked around, and then would go back to sleep for another hour. And then once it hit 4 o'clock, 4:30, that's when people actually started arriving to the airport. So, there was more noise, more people walking around. And after that, I just stayed awake. And the plan was, and I did, fall asleep on the plane ride back to Love Field.
Yeah, we were there. So I wish, we had walked into the airport. We had returned the car. We walked into the airport before we knew the first delay. And if we were maybe 10 minutes later, we could have gone and done other stuff and not turned in the rental car. The second we stepped into the airport, they were like, oh, sorry, you're delayed. And we had wanted to check out a brewery and do some other stuff that we didn't get to do because we were like, nope, got to get to the airport on time. And unfortunately, it got delayed even more. And I was like, dang, we could have been doing a lot of stuff in Boston.
Yeah.
That didn't get to happen. So I was pretty upset about that. And I thought everything would be fine until that second delay because I was like, oh, we'll still make the connecting flight. Everything will be on time. No.
We've flown a lot this year, and it's never really been comfortable, so I can't imagine sleeping overnight at an airport.
It's not really sleeping. It's like mini naps, right? You just get to close your eyes for an hour, hour and a half, maybe at the most. I don't know. I think maybe I slept 2 hours straight through, and then you're up and awake. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, but St. Louis made sure that the floors were cleaned twice because they vacuumed around, literally around my body. You don't need to vacuum around me. I'm on the effing floor, right? And so then they vacuum, and I'm like, okay, he's done with this section. There's a whole freaking airport that he can go vacuum. No, a second person comes and vacuums the same spots. And I'm like, how clean does the floor need to be? Y'all have already vacuumed here. So besides that, not being able to sleep because of the hard floor, because it was cold, because they were vacuuming, the trip itself was really good. We had a lot of fun. We saw a lot of things, so much history, great food, just the, flight, and then cold, which I came prepared. Austin says I came too prepared, but I layered up. At one point, I had 3 layers on my legs, and I think 3 layers on my top. I think I went 4 layers the most on my top, and I had earmuffs and a beanie and gloves and a mask. So
Do
it was
people
like,
over there have that on too?
yes,
They do? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
when we're-
not to the same extent though.
I saw some people with masks and everything on.
Right. But some don't because they're only going from one spot to get the tea to another spot to get the tea, where they know they're not going to be outside for an extended period of time.
To get the tea?
The subway that's there.
Oh, okay.
Called transportation. I'm just kidding. No, yeah.
Because I had a
I
mask
thought you
too.
meant like literal tea.
No, I had a mask too, but after the first part of that Monday morning, I stopped putting it on just because I was fine. I know the feel like was -16, but I had mapped stuff out to where we were never outside for more than like 5 minutes at the most.
But those 5 minutes were super cold, and the parts that weren't covered, like your eyelids and underneath your eyes, were freezing.
My body's never felt anything that cold, so I don't know how I would react. I don't think I would. I mean, is it unbearable, Austin? I'm hearing Cassie's, point of view.
I'm pretty bundled up, so we were fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
But like your eyelids, is it like is it pain?
No.
What are we talking here?
No,
No, it's just extremely cold.
it was fine. I was getting cold. One of the times we were walking back and I didn't have my mask on and my nose started getting cold. But then after, I would say 5-10 seconds, it wasn't cold anymore because I just couldn't feel my nose. So it was fine. But I was fine the whole time. Whenever I had to have my hands out of my pockets for whatever reason, I had gloves, but they were the fingertipless ones. If I had to have them out to move the suitcase or do something, and I couldn't put them back in my pocket within a few seconds, my hands would start to hurt.
Dang.
I like the cold, so I think I would like to feel that.
It was good. I mean, the snow was fun.
It was so pretty to look. And then we drove through small towns, and so all the houses were so cute, and their little roofs are built a special way for the snow. It was very nice.
No.
So, a question for both of y'all. You can answer one at a time. Austin, what was the best thing you ate over there?
The best thing I ate was the Whataburger that I took with us on the airplane.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I took Whataburger.
That
and
wasn't
when
the
we
best thing you had.
When we landed in Boston, the guy that had sat next to us from Love Field to St. Louis, but he didn't sit next to us from St. Louis to Boston, he saw my Whataburger bag and he was like, "Oh man, you're gonna get everyone here jealous and wanting Whataburger." No, the best thing I had was some jumbo bacon wrap scallops on Monday. That was the best thing.
Bacon wrapped scallions?
Scallops.
No, scallops. What's a scallion? An onion?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, way off.
From the onion family.
Okay. And Cassie, what was the best thing you ate?
That's a good question. I would say it'd be those pastries that we had. We went to, what was it called? Maria's Pastries. And
Yes, and that's when it was the coldest.
You could tell no one had been in that store because they were looking at us like, y'all are crazy for walking through this. And we're the only customers there. And I got a pastry, and it was a cookie, but it wasn't like a traditional cookie with, like, obviously they didn't make it with flour. It was like basically like these crunchy parts with dark chocolate, and then they called it a cookie, but it wasn't a cookie, but it was really good.
Why didn't you say any type of seafood? Isn't seafood big over there?
It's huge, but I don't like seafood, so I
Really?
did not have any.
All the food we had was delicious, though.
Yeah.
From the different cities, it was all good. And I will say that, well, Boston, but I would say Massachusetts, they make amazing French fries. Their French fries were so good. All the French fries we had at every stop were delicious.
I mean,
Fish and chips.
It was very, very well seasoned French fries. from like high-end restaurants to normal restaurants to hotels. Their fries were surprisingly one of the best things we had.
They were just like consistently good at all the places.
Right. I mean, because you've been to hotels where like they have horrible French fries, or you've been to places where the French fries taste like they were just frozen from a bag, right?
Yeah. Disney.
Worst food ever.
Oh.
Ever. For $40.
Yeah. Every time it was about $35, and they all had the same fries.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we were hungry. We had to eat.
There was one day we didn't eat a meal until 6:30 at night. I thought I was gonna die. Everything was shut down. Everything was shut down because the storm had already come, and the city and the state they were good at defrosting, making sure that the snowplows were out so people could get around, but they're not stupid enough to travel, right? Like if you don't need to go, you don't go outside, you don't go to work. So the fast food places, like where we were going to pick something up real quick and then drive into town, everything was closed. And so by the time we got actual food, it was late, and I felt like death because I was so hungry. And that burger was awful, but it was like the only substance I had had that day. So
So will you guys go back?
I would like
summer?
to definitely go back where we stayed. So we stayed outside of Boston. Obviously staying inside of Boston would take down on some of the traveling time that we did, but there was so much that we didn't get to see, obviously, right? There's like a lot of history, a lot of trails, that walking tours that they can take you on that we didn't get to do because of the cold. I wouldn't want to do that in the cold. So yeah, it was good. I would definitely want to go back.
What else do you want to mention about it? Anything else that the listeners might want to know?
And we can do a quick breakdown, and then we could talk about Sunday, I guess. So quick breakdown. We flew out Friday. We landed, and we drove to Salem, and we spent the day in Salem. But everything was closed. The witch house, the witch museum, everything was closed. So we ended up just having dinner there at Turner Seafood, which was really good. They had a little fire going, which was cool. And then we drove from Salem to the hotel we were staying at. And we got this hotel because we signed up to listen to one of the Holiday Inn timeshare pitches. And so the hotel was in Pittsfield, which by toll from Boston is about a 2.5 hour drive. From Salem, it's about like a 3.5 hour drive for some reason, 4 hours. I felt like I was driving for like 5 hours straight from Salem, and it was dark already. So we drove out there. We were in Pittsfield, and then we woke up early next morning and drove into Boston. We went to Fenway Park there. My mom got to see Fenway Park. We then took the T to Copley and went into the Boston Public Library, which is really cool. And then after that, we went to basically like a harbor cruise there in Boston, which was fun. They explained a lot of the history there and a lot of architecture and everything that's going on in Boston. And then after that, we came back and went to Faneuil Hall, and we went to the Cheers bar and ate there. And then we drove back to Pittsfield because that was the night that it was going to start coming down pretty bad with snow and sleet and ice and freezing rain. And in fact, when we left Boston that day, the snow was already coming down. So I drove back to Pittsfield. We were there. The plan was the next morning to basically drive to Albany, which is the state capital for New York, but they were going to get it worse in Massachusetts, so we scrapped that. We were just going to sleep in because at 2, Cassie and I needed to go to the Holiday Inn to listen to their timeshare pitch meeting for us.
Can I just say that Austin drove all of these hours, like everything he's explaining, he did all of the driving. And I think he tried to total it up, but it was a lot of hours driving. And it was in the snow and the sleet. I don't know how he did it. And obviously everybody drives different everywhere, and the highways are different. So it made me so nervous to be in the front seat and see all of these cars driving, and it's cold, and there were some times where we couldn't get the windshield wiper to work, or we didn't know, right? Like, you're supposed to clean your damn windshield wiper off when you have snow on it, because it just smeared it all over the car. And he drove without instant. Like, when we got the rental car first, they were like, "Are you sure? There's a storm coming. We'll pay if you crash." And right then and there, I was like, "Yeah, we should get that." And Austin's like, "No, we'll be fine." And I'm like, "Oh God, we're definitely gonna crash."
Was it like insurance or what?
Yeah.
It's just they're.
She looked at us stupid, like, "Are you sure? It's supposed to snow. It's
y'all
supposed
from
to
Texas.
storm. You don't know how to drive," kind of thing. And I was like, "Oh crap!" Like, I was so scared. But everything went smoothly with the driving. I just want to lay that out there.
I was like, "Ma'am, it ices over in Fort Worth, all right." So the plan for that Sunday was just to go to the pitch meeting, and that's it. But then Saturday night, my mom really wanted to spend the last night in Boston, so I told her that Cassie and I had a free night stay with Holiday Inn that we can use. So we booked the room so that after the pitch meeting on Sunday, we could just head to Boston, stay in Boston. That way we can do more Monday morning and then fly out. So Sunday morning, we slept in. But everyone else got up, took showers, and was pretty much ready to go. And I was the last one, and they called us from the timeshare and asked if we could move up our meeting from 2 to 11:30 or noon, because they wanted to get the pitch meeting done with. That way the workers can go home, because it was going to get bad. And so we said yes. So I hurried up, washed up, and we drove over there from Pittsfield to Lee, where we went. It's like a 30-minute drive, not that bad. Again, like Cassie was saying, the scenery, the small towns. We saw awesome churches that have like crazy cool architecture. Went to the pitch meeting, and it was supposed to be 2 to 4. They're going to pitch us this timeshare for Holiday Inn.
And we had already went in saying no, right? Like, don't do it.
Long story short, you have a timeshare out there.
So we did that pitch meeting. Again, we woke up late and left the meeting early, thinking it was only going to be 2 hours. And we haven't eaten yet. So we get there at noon. They do the whole spiel. They show us around. They come back and they're like, "Oh, do you want to do this? Like, can we count y'all as our next owners?" And so we go back and forth, but Cassie and I said no.
We go back and forth. There shouldn't have been back and forth.
Well, not back and forth, but just like, we didn't haggle, but we just saw like what are the different options. And I feel like, and we discussed this, Cassie and I, if we would have known more about the timeshare going into it, we probably would have saved and would have done the timeshare.
So
it's a really great deal. What they're offering makes total sense, but
it's not a scam or anything like that. It's not.
They
try to
need the
rope
money.
or dope you.
No, they need the money down, like, right now. Like, right then and there, you need to put this much money down. And it's like, what? You didn't tell us, like, how are we supposed to know to have that type of money before we come?
And what would you have gotten? A place in Boston to visit?
No, you can use it. So you can use any of the resorts around the world. Any
That's
of the
old
Holiday
way
Inn,
of doing it, John.
any of the Holiday Inn hotels. You can move the points around. It's a whole thing. I agree with Cassie. We both think it's worth it, but we think it's worth it for two different reasons. So you can use your points that they give you at the beginning of the year to travel to any one of their resorts. Or you can move those points into your Holiday Inn account and then use those points to stay at any of their hotels. And obviously they have the hotels and resorts all over the world. So, you're always going to be able to find a place. Cassie really liked it because of the resort aspect, which she can talk about if she wants. I don't know.
No, we don't have to get into it. There's different tiers, right? You'll have your basic hotels, you'll have an upgraded, and then you'll have like a luxury one. And these timeshares, you can bring as many people. I think it was like up to 16 people or whatever. You can bring so many people. You can have all of these nights free anywhere in the world, blah, blah, blah. Everything sounded great. We had just disagreed on how we would use it, which is not a big deal, right? Because you're right then in the moment, like, you're thinking to yourself how you would use it, and then your partner is thinking a different way. So we just really didn't have time to discuss it right then and there, and we weren't going to argue or talk about it in front of these people. Like, we've already been here 3 hours or however long we were there, and we knew we didn't have the money down, so it was like a moot point at that time.
Yeah.
So this could be another topic, but so we leave there and it's already like 5 or something, so we got there at 2. So we left for like 3:30, and the whole time we're in there, we can see out the window, snow's just coming down. It's like, geez, man, I'm gonna have to drive in this because we booked a hotel in Boston. Like, we need to get over there to check in, and so we drive back to the hotel we were staying in Pittsfield, check out, and there's a McDonald's right before we get the highway to get back to Boston. I was like, let's just stop there. We had stopped there once before for breakfast. Let's stop there, put gas, get McDonald's, head to Boston. We go, the McDonald's is closed. Okay, no big deal. Every, 10, 15, 20, 25 miles along this highway, there's a rest stop with gas station and McDonald's. We'll just stop at the next one. We drive, we stop at the next one, they're closed. We keep going, and everything is looking like it's just closing early because of the weather. All these establishments are just closing super early because it's going to get bad and they want to send their employees home.
Or they knew it'd be bad and they put a sign the day before.
Right, or that too.
So it's oh, you're out of luck.
And so we finally made it into, I don't even know what city we stopped in real quick. The Wendy's was open. They were going to close at 7, but we caught them there like at 6. And we finally ate something at 6 p.m. And that was our first meal the whole day.
Mine was bad. It was too much. It was not good. But again, that was the only food I had. So,
and then that's it. Yeah, continued on to Boston. No one was on the streets in Boston because that's when the Pats were playing. So the driving in Boston was super easy at that point. We checked into our hotel. Hotel was awesome, and then we just went down next to the hotel. There is a bar. We went to that bar and just saw the remaining of the game. And then woke up next day, got the pastry for Cassie, went to the Prudential Tower to walk around and see the entire Boston city from 50 stories up. And then we got to the airport, and then that's where the whole airport ordeal began. But that's it.
You've been before, Austin. When you went before, what season was that in?
In November.
So it was right before the winter time, I guess, or?
Yeah, it was still cold in the 30s, and it was pouring rain, but it never got below freezing, so that was never an issue. It was just very cold and very wet, but not freezing. And when I went before, I stayed in Boston at the Sheraton, which is right smack in the middle of everything, and so I could hop on the T and get anywhere and come back to the hotel super easy. I didn't drive anywhere. But even after this whole ordeal, I did tweet at Southwest Airlines, and they did tweet back, and I did DM them, and they are sending us some vouchers for future air travel with them.
Awesome.
Vouchers?
Yeah. To use on
it's basically
future...
a gift card.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad you guys made it back safely then. I mean, you were texting me throughout that whole ordeal, so you didn't even know when you were going to come back at one point, I'm sure, right?
Right, because I didn't know when the next flight out of St. Louis was going to be.
My, I would say but mine and Jessica's, but my 3-day weekend was kind of more chill. It was kind of more boring. Jessica stayed here in town, and me and Caesar and Marshall went to the coast, and we left Friday night at 7 or 8. We got to the place we wanted to fish around 10:30 in Corpus, which is 2 hours away. And we stayed out there and nothing. We didn't get one bite, nothing. It was it wasn't miserable. It was pretty
Rookies.
No, I mean it was, I don't know. It was fun to be out there with them. We were drinking, listening to music, but we could, I guess, done that here in town and not wasted 2 hours of driving, because we literally had no bites, didn't see any fish, And we stayed fishing. We went to another spot, but all in all, we stayed fishing. When we started, it was around 10:30. When we finished, it was like probably 5:30 in the morning. And nothing. Not a damn thing.
Damn.
We went to Denny's after, which was a highlight probably. And we drove back.
That's real sad.
Was back home like at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I slept. The guys went home, and that was it. Nothing really to report. I wish I could have reported. We caught a bunch of fish or a big shark.
What were you using for bait?
So
Here we go.
it's funny you say that. We should have used live bait. Used live bait, but we didn't. By the time we got out there was nothing open to get live bait from. And we really didn't have anywhere to hold it anyway. But Caesar had bought these artificial shrimp bait looking, like plastic looking things at Academy. And I mean, it looked like a shrimp. And it was swimming. It was like in this juice, which really smelled. So, I thought it smelled good to the fish. And we were using that, and it just, nothing. The fish knew, I guess. We did see a jellyfish and a sea turtle.
Nice.
But other than that, not a damn thing.
How spur of the moment was this trip?
It wasn't spur of the moment. We actually planned it like 2 weeks ago.
So how do you
or
not
2
have
weeks.
bait?
I mean, we just didn't think about it. Like, we weren't gonna buy it here, I guess.
We also left really late.
We did leave late, but that was always the plan. The plan was to leave in the evening. Like, we're not gonna rush after work or anything. We wanted to fish at night, so we didn't really. I guess we could have bought bait somewhere, but then the thing about that also, what comes into play is we have to keep the bait alive, and
It had to have been better than what y'all were using.
the fish would have known it was at least alive at one point.
Yeah.
There's this thing called I think it's called an aerator or something, and I want one if Jess will let me buy it, but it's like this little thing that shoots bubbles into your bait container, and it keeps them alive. Like oxygen's flowing or whatever. Mm-hmm. Versus just having a bucket with water and they just die.
I love fishing.
Really?
I'm so jealous. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
We can go when it's warm.
Yeah. I don't want to freeze my ass off. I already did that.
Before we move on to the next topic, I did want to mention out two things here. The first thing is with Jessica. The first thing is she listened to the last podcast and she made a few comments about it. Funny comments. The first one was when we talked about.
Can I hear it from Jess?
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what comments I made, but
I'll say the topic and she'll tell you what she told me. But the first comment was when we were talking about Bird Box and A Quiet Place. You remember?
No.
She said she cried in A Quiet Place.
Oh, I said I cried the whole movie. That's not
more
funny.
emotional. There you go.
Yeah.
Better movie.
No, yeah, but it was a scary movie, not a emotional movie.
I cried because she was deaf the whole time. The whole movie, I cried.
Oh.
Yeah, literally the whole movie.
I
Like,
cried.
sobbed.
I cried because he dies.
No, I didn't. I was
It was
crying
so
because she was
sad,
deaf
and he was
the
like,
whole
"It's
time.
okay," and she was like, "No." It was so sad.
I guess it's normal for y'all to cry. I didn't think it was something. I thought Jess was weird for crying about it.
I didn't cry the whole
'cause
movie.
We found out she was deaf real early on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so the whole movie.
You never got over it?
No.
And then the whole side hustle conversation, she asked me if Austin at our schools, or grade schools or high schools even, if anyone ever sold anything to us to make money during the school hours.
Do you remember that, Cass? People bring you
So-
like snacks, kind of.
So
like,
I remember. Dude, do you remember the art teacher selling snacks on the side?
What?
No, but I remember students.
Dude,
What
yes,
the hell?
yes.
Which art teacher?
Dude, we're in the
Not
same art
lady.
class.
I know the lady. She sold
Yeah.
snacks. Oh,
Yeah,
not to
dude.
me.
What kind of
would-
snacks?
She would sell snacks on the side.
No.
Yeah.
She must have kept it on on their hush because I never saw snacks.
Yeah.
I guess no one did that at your school, right, us in Antonian?
No, I mean there was a teacher that sold snacks, but it was to go to a charity.
Not for personal gain.
Yeah, the money went to a charity.
Gains.
gains.
No, I want to say like kids had, I don't know, hot Cheetos or like, I don't know,
Drugs.
like hood rat snacks that you would eat in high school.
Hood rat snacks. Hot Cheetos, got it.
Just things like that, like snacks. I remember people selling stuff.
And I asked Jessica, I was like, now, did they do this for themselves or did their parents know? She's like, no, their parents probably knew.
Yeah. Who do you think bought it originally?
I don't know, I just thought that was funny.
I don't remember anyone selling anything.
I think people did, but I cannot remember. I didn't buy anything because I would have remembered that. But yeah, people did sell stuff. I can't remember who or what. It had to have been like candy bars.
It was like candy. I want to say maybe like Gatorades. Just things like small things.
And they kept it cold in their backpacks.
Dang.
I'm sure their parents bought in bulk and they were just,
What?
Yeah, I remember that.
And that money was just to go to them for whatever?
Whatever, lunch money or...
It's called a hustle. Austin.
More money to buy more product.
Alright.
Yeah, I was when she told me that I didn't believe it. I was like, no one did that at our place of education.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our school was a lot poorer back then.
Poorer than now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a thing. I think kids do that. Just because my sisters, like, I'm pretty sure that continued.
Oh, okay.
They didn't sell, but I'm sure people sold, like, tacos. I'm sure that happened.
That's funny.
She was listening to the podcast and she was just making these comments. So I thought I'd jot them down to talk about.
I want to ask
And,
her questions. Jessica, what did you first think when John said we're going to start a podcast?
I don't know.
She was like, all right, as long as you stay out of trouble.
I don't even remember what I said. I feel like he has a lot of ideas, so I didn't know if it was going to...
I don't know if he's going to
Play
act on this
out.
idea. He talks a lot. He likes to talk a lot.
Jessica, do you think the podcast is good?
Yeah, I listen. I feel like I enjoyed listening when I had a longer drive to work. Now I have to listen at work, and it's harder for me. But yeah, I'm entertained. I laugh. I don't think I laugh out loud, though. Like, at the same stuff that you do. We have that conversation a lot.
Yeah, so Jessica and I have always... She's brought to my attention. I would, like, tag her on things on Facebook, and I think they're the most funniest things. Like, I'll literally laugh out loud.
He said most funniest things.
Okay.
I tell him I hear his bad grammar all the time, so.
Anyway,
He just looks
I'll tag
at the
her.
camera.
I'll tag her in something, and I won't get a response or something. Then I'll ask her later on the day, "Hey, did you see that? What'd you think?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, it was funny." And I was like, and I wanted more of a reaction, and so I asked her, like, "You didn't think it was like hilarious?" She's like, "No, I don't laugh at the same things you laugh at." And I don't know. I guess we don't have the same sense of humor.
Jessica, do you think this is a good podcast because he's on it or because it's actually good?
No, I definitely can listen to you guys. I have tried to listen to other podcasts and I can't. So I would say, yeah, it's good. Are you trying to sell me on this, Kat?
No, I just feel like
I already
that
listened.
I just feel like it has to be on the personal level because you know all three of us. Other than that, it would be like some random people just ranting on about nonsense.
Well, I think it's the way that you guys organize it.
It's not that great.
Well,
I
I don't
don't
know.
do
I just feel
much.
like
I'm just
some of the other ones I've tried to listen, I can't get past it because it's too all over the place. I would say it's pretty well balanced.
Well, thank you for getting people out there to listen because I think we've got maybe like 10 listeners at the most.
Nah,
We
we got
have-
more than that.
We have 18 views on our YouTube.
8
Yeah.
whole views.
18.
No, 18.
Oh,
Get it right, Cass.
That's good. That's something.
Granted, we just started it, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely a start. So if you're listening to this on your podcast platform, check us out on YouTube. Austin's making some videos, posting some pictures that go along with our topics.
John's gripes have gotten some pushback at work, though.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know why.
It's funny because he doesn't know why.
Yeah.
Just say it. I don't know why.
He thinks that it's like, that's the way I think and I don't like it. But it's like, dude, you probably shouldn't say some of that stuff.
They're like, what do you say? I feel like women are his target, or I don't know what.
This is not a sexist podcast, and I am not sexist for the record.
Could have fooled us. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Anyway, so going back to what we have here, Austin, you had this topic here, flying versus driving.
Yeah, because of our whole ordeal of being delayed on the flight and then having to sleep at the airport, or not having to sleep at the airport, but it made the most sense for us to sleep in the terminal. So I know we like flying, but we've also drove to a bunch of places before. And out of the two, I would pick flying, even with the whole having to sleep in the airport and flight being delayed and weather and all that stuff. I would still pick flying over driving. So I just wanted to see what everyone else thinks about that.
Let's let Jessica go first.
Driving. I hate to fly. I hate to be told, like, I have to be there at this certain time with only this amount of stuff.
But you wouldn't want to get to the destination quicker?
I don't feel like it's quicker because we have to get to the airport so damn early and sit around. And yeah, I just think that I could just get in the car and drive and sleep and stop here and eat and walk around and see stuff that you didn't probably plan on seeing or stopping by. I don't know. I always grew up taking road trips, and I guess I just appreciate them. Now as an adult, obviously flying is, it's better because I don't need to take a full week off to, take a trip. But I would still pick driving any day. I
did, you said now that we're older, I did realize on this trip that we took last summer to Miami with your family, I flew over there to meet y'all, but we drove back. I drove back with you guys. I feel like it's more expensive to drive.
How so?
It's not.
Because of the hotel rooms we had to, our motel rooms we had to stay in.
Yeah.
Every night, it took us about 2-3 days to drive back. And that's not even necessary. Obviously, you can drive straight if you have the people, which we did, or you can do it yourself if you think it's safe. But if you want to be comfortable and do an actual road trip, you're going to have to spend money to stay in the hotels or the motels, which is at least $100, $120 a night.
Yeah. Or
you can go, you can go to a cheaper Motel 6 probably and do $60, but for as many people as we went with, we needed a place that had like 2 bedrooms, continental breakfast preferably. But I think that was expensive.
You're saying we probably spent what we know, but not for the 5 of us. Not the cost of 5 flights.
5 flights, yes, yeah. I agree. But if I'm the dad paying, you're right.
5 flights, yeah.
I personally like road trips, but growing up now, I think I'd like to get there faster.
I just can't imagine, like, I'm already in a bad mood at the airport, being with a kid.
Oh my God,
and the kid stuff.
Those poor people. There was one person who had twins, infant twins. These kids couldn't have been more than 2 months old. I mean, they could barely move. Like, they were just there.
They were really small, yeah.
But
they were so tiny.
Infants let you go through TSA quicker and board quicker.
And they fly free, right?
I assume they fly free.
But if you're delayed, you're sitting there with babies.
Yeah.
What if you didn't bring enough stuff for them? I'd be in panic mode.
I prefer road trips too, I guess is the answer. Driving over flying. If I could afford it. I know flying is probably more expensive, but driving's more of a...
And you got to take the time off of work.
Yeah. I don't think that's ever been an issue, though, at my place of work. What about you guys?
I enjoy flying. Like, since I've been in a few car accidents, driving makes me so freaking nervous. Like, the entire trip, I was so nervous when we were driving. Like, for sure someone was going to come in and slam and then remember when we're going down to San Antonio for your wedding and that truck just came in and hit the guardrail. Oh my God, it keeps me on high alert driving because I'm just so scared somebody's going to come smashing into us or we're not going to hit the brakes in time and we're going to be smashing into the car in front of us. I just get so nervous.
So my uncle had a theory And he said, if you're driving and you're in a crash, it's like, and, you're dead. He's like, if you're flying and that shit goes down, that's going to be like,
a
very long
anticipated
plummet.
death.
Yeah. Unless it's like burst into flame. But you know what I mean?
It can't
he
be
was
that
like,
much, yeah.
Why do you have to die in any of these scenarios? Why can't you just live?
He was just saying that.
The anticipation of dying, I get, because you're so high in the air and you're coming down. It couldn't be that long, though, right? What, like...
I don't know.
A minute, 2 minutes?
I think it happens quick if it's going to happen.
How long would it take for the plane to come down?
No clue.
Depends how high you're flying.
Even if it's 15 minutes, that's a long time to know you're going to die.
It can't be that long. It can't be that long. No. But still,
no, you're falling in a minute or two or 3.
What?
I would say 5 minutes.
5?
Max.
Anyway, there's no way we're gonna know that right now.
But what I'm saying is driving. It makes me so nervous, and then obviously because of the snow and the sleet and all of that, it was the worst. Like I was more nervous. Flying, yes, it's a pain in the ass to get through TSA, but for us, we're pre-checked approved, so we didn't have to wait in a long line. I think at the most there was maybe 3 or 4 people in front of us, so that was quick. I think as long as you plan what you're packing ahead of time, you're going to have to take your liquids out, so you're going to put those on top of whatever you're taking. Your carry-on can only be this, don't take extra clothes. Women love to do that. I love to take extra things for options. But when you're flying with a carry-on, and you can't. You have to just dedicate yourself to what you're going to wear. It's really not that bad. And I think Austin is pretty good at finding some cheap flights for us.
What do you prefer, Austin?
I prefer flying. Same thing like y'all were saying. We've done road trips in the past. Growing up, my family and I, we drove from San Antonio all the way to Canada and back. We've driven from San Antonio to Florida multiple times. And I guess if I had the 2 weeks to take off, I would want 2 weeks to take off to drive to Florida. Because it would be the week to drive and then a week to actually be in Disney or wherever we're going. But just thinking of like all the places I would want to fly to or go to, flying just seems like the better option. That way I get there same day and I have more days and times there than on having to be on the road and not be in the city I want to be in. I don't mind a road trip, but I think that has to be like the plan that we're going to do. And have the time to do it. Yeah,
like make a plan, save up for it, plan your route, what you want to do in those towns along the way, right, where you're going to sleep at night.
Right. Because we've planned like road trips to Big Bend and other places, and I do that where, let's drive for 4 hours, let's break here because there's some cool attraction here or there's a cool thing to see, and then let's get back in the car, let's keep driving. The way I like to vacation now is get there as fast as I can, and then I've already planned like an itinerary for whatever city we're in. And then we do that and then we just bounce out.
I think that's the difference between like us as couples. I think Jess likes to do things more freely.
I was about to say the thing that I've learned being with Jessica and her family is they don't like to plan. So if we're going to take a road trip going further, if we have, when we have a family, am going to want to plan where we're going to stay, how long we're going to drive for, what we're going to do when we stop, things like that. But Jessica and her family, they're going to drive until they're tired. And we're going to, find a hotel room in this town. Like, they don't know where they're going to stay or how far they're going to go.
Right.
And that's fine, too. But I need some order in my life.
He can't even handle not knowing where we're going to have dinner on Friday or what time it's going to be. My family has dinner every Friday night. That's like a thing. They'll go somewhere, not nowhere fancy, but they're going to go out to eat somewhere. And he's like, he still will ask me, what time? I don't know what time. People are at work. We don't know. And he needs to know where. And of course, it's not decided until people are driving
to the place.
Yeah. That's how I do it.
I do that a little bit to Austin. He's like, so what time are you going to get together with the girls? I'm like, I don't know, probably this day. Well, what time are you going to get together with your family? I don't know, probably this day. well, what time? I don't know. And he's just like,
No, John will ask me, how much are you spending on the gift for the party in 3 weeks? I don't know. I haven't gone shopping for it yet. I
need a budget for it. Need to put in the budget.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I have a New Year's resolution, babe.
Mm-hmm.
It requires that I save X amount of money.
Oh. Shouldn't have bought
did
that
you
Apple
show
Watch.
it? Did you show her the number?
No, he didn't.
So she can help you.
She's going to help me regardless. I need her help. We're married now. Do you have anything else to say about flying versus driving? Anybody? No?
No, I told Cassie we can probably put a Twitter poll up
Oh, that'd be great.
for that one. Easy, A or B.
That'd be great. We'll do that. If you're listening to this, go vote and decide, are you team me and Jess or team Cassie Austin? So I put on the docket here a little surprise, and I think, I mentioned to you guys earlier a little bit, but if you go to the Google Doc, the sheet, the podcast sheet,
Oh, goodness.
if you scroll all the way to the right, there's a sheet 17. Please click on it, but don't click anything else.
Oh, real quick, we can throw this out. In the hotel we stayed in Boston, we stayed in room 1408. I'm still afraid I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning back in that hotel room.
Insert
Back at
picture here.
Back at the airport.
You never left?
We never left the room, Cassie.
Okay, so I put 5 questions that are blacked out. Don't click on any of them. And I'm going to slowly unravel them one at a time so you don't see them ahead of time. Anyway, there's 5 questions each. The couples are on a team. The most closest to 10 wins. So here you go.
What is my zodiac sign?
And so the zodiac sign.
She's all looking it up.
No. Because I get confused with the Chinese.
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I'm talking about? So the zodiac one is a Scorpio. The Chinese one is a dragon.
Austin, is she right on the zodiac sign?
Yes.
Dragon?
Yes.
Okay,
You're right on both, but yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I get them
Cassie.
confused, and I'm like, oh, God, which one's which? Cool.
Okay, Jess, you're asking me your question here.
Who was my first celebrity crush?
That's a hard one.
At how old?
My first celebrity crush.
Ever?
Yeah. I don't know the age. I'll say 5 to 6-ish.
Okay, what year was that?
Oh my gosh.
93, 94-ish. Probably someone in a boy band. No, at 5? I don't know. Was he a singer?
Is that your answer?
I'm asking you. You have to give me a hint here. Was he in the music industry?
No.
No.
You can't ask questions for a question.
I don't know. I'm going to guess. What show was on TV? Oh, was it a Power Ranger?
Damn it.
It was
a Power Ranger.
Oh, was it there's only 2 that I would pick from. Was it Tommy?
Yeah.
Yes!
You probably knew that.
I didn't know that one. I promise I didn't know that. I put myself what was big in that age. All right.
That was rigged. You knew that.
All right, Cassie, here you go. This is your question, Austin.
Oh, okay. What is the name of my elementary school?
I only know you went to Somerset. I have no other school for you. Do I?
Do I?
Do you want to put that all together?
Put it all together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct, but I was looking for Somerset Elementary School.
Oh, you want me to say the whole thing?
Nope,
Well,
too
'cause
late.
I
I already
didn't-
said it.
Because I knew when you were young, you lived inside San Antonio, so I didn't know if you went to school.
I did for 1 year. I don't remember what the school name was, though.
See, so I knew you went to a different school, so I knew it wasn't going to be Somerset, but I guess I can get the point.
I went to preschool. I don't know if that counts.
But I knew you lived in San Antonio before.
Wait, so what was the name of your elementary school?
Somerset. I don't know what the other one was called.
Was it Somerset?
Somerset Elementary. Yeah.
Where did you go to elementary?
Kindred.
Oh, I thought y'all didn't. I don't know if I thought it was like a Somerset different name or something.
No.
Nope.
That was too easy.
There's one school there.
All right, my question to Jessica: did I get an allowance as a child?
You were spoiled, so did you get a no? Yes.
The answer is no.
You didn't? They
No.
just gave it to you. You weren't allowed.
I didn't get anything. I mowed the lawn, didn't get nothing out of it.
You got a phone
That was later in life, but yes, I did
that you
get a
messed
phone.
up on. Listeners, go back to the episode we talked about that.
Okay, Austin. Here's your next question, Austin, for Cassie.
Have I ever gone hunting?
I believe you have. I'm just gonna say yes and not expound on that.
Austin?
Yes.
What were you going to expand on it, Cassie?
I was gonna go into the type of animal, but I was like, nope. You should just quit while you're ahead.
What animal do you think it was for no extra points?
I think it was dove hunting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I didn't know that, Austin. I thought the answer would have been no.
That's why you're not my partner.
All right, baby, ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I ask you. Okay.
She was just looking at me waiting for me to answer it.
Answer the question,
people,
John.
they don't know. The people listening don't know.
How many siblings do each of my parents have?
That's a hard question. Okay. Oh, crap. Okay, your dad has
You're taking way too long.
5 brothers. Your dad? 5 brothers. So, am I right so far, or am I wrong already?
Yes.
5 brothers and 2 sisters.
Yes.
Okay. Your mom has five total other siblings. There's 6 of them total, including your mom.
Wrong.
Dang it. Okay. How many of them?
My mom has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
So there's 6 other ones. So 6.
She has a total of 6, and there's 7 all together.
Okay, fine.
Wrong.
Austin, can you answer that question about me?
How many siblings?
I don't think you
Your-
can. But go
Your
on.
dad has 3, and then your mom has 2?
Mm-mm. She has 4.
She has 4?
Yeah.
Have I met all 4?
No.
Oh, have I met 2?
I think so. Yeah.
I know Alice and Stephanie
Okay, there's 2 more.
that I haven't met.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well,
Set him up
That's
for
fine.
failure, Cass.
That's why I knew he couldn't answer it.
All right, Cass, here's your question for Austin.
Ooh, that's a good one. What is my favorite ice cream flavor?
chocolate.
With
Pecans.
Austin B. Luna. You shut your damn dirty mouth. That is not the right nut. What is it?
What?
You better get the right nut, Austin.
That's not the right nut.
What?
We'll wait here.
You need the whole thing, Austin, to get this point.
Pecans aren't you don't.
I mean, you already answered, so that's
we
wrong.
We just were at the airport
Yeah, and you got walnuts.
because they didn't have any
You asked for pecans when we were there.
almonds, babe. Almonds.
But you asked for pecans.
I asked for almonds.
You didn't ask for them because I asked for them, and I asked for pecans.
I asked for them. I said, "Do you have almonds?" And she said no. And then you were like, "They have walnuts." And I was like, "I guess I'll take that."
No, I'm still giving us the point.
No, I'm not giving you the point.
The point. It doesn't say what goes with it.
Chocolate is correct. But I
Her
like
favorite
to
ice cream
add.
flavor
I
is
like to add
chocolate.
in. I like to add in almonds.
It's chocolate almond is the flavor.
No.
No,
Almond
it's
isn't
not.
really the flavor.
Wait, how
They
many
put
points do y'all
almonds
have?
in there.
Uh,
One.
Okay.
We only have one.
I'm keeping
Yeah.
it here too. Sorry.
You got that one wrong.
Go, John.
Damn it. Okay, babe. We need this point. Would I rather do laundry, dishes, or dust the house? Pick one.
I would say laundry.
Laundry is correct.
You're pro.
I like to fold.
You see that little robot that folds for you?
No. I do it. He doesn't know how to do
But
it.
it like folds precisely for you.
He's very particular about how you fold his shirts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Austin, here you go. For Cassie.
Where did we kiss the first time in public?
That's like a very personal question.
If it was in
Oh,
public,
no.
wasn't that personal?
I mean, that's just hard to. I feel like that would be hard to remember.
Austin has an idea in his head. It's gonna let's see if it matches Cassie's idea.
So, the first thought is coming is spring break of 09. But damn, that could be wrong. That's the guess I'm going with.
Did I match your guess, Austin?
Is that when we went to South Padre?
Yeah.
Okay, then yes. I don't remember the year, but yes.
Bitch.
Well, I wasn't gonna sit here and count the year, but yes, that's the year.
Okay.
Was it in a club?
What club was it in?
Oh fuck, I don't remember the club.
It was the same playlist in every club we went to, though.
Louis' backyard.
The same playlist.
Yeah,
It was a Lil Jon Shots.
it was.
LMFAO.
Oh yeah.
No, this was before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
What's the guy that sings Akon? I bet you there was some Akon on those playlists.
Day and Night.
Really? At the club?
That song was at every single time we walked into the
And
club.
something with T-Pain. I don't remember.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two songs.
All right. I think we're going to lose, babe, but let's see. Ask me your next question, babe.
What was my favorite restaurant as a child? Oh, I don't know if we've had this conversation.
How old?
As a child, I think under 10.
Under 10? I don't know. I'm just going to say Chuck E. Cheese.
No, incorrect.
What is it?
So the true answer is Hungry Farmer.
What? As a kid?
Yeah.
What?
I used to get chicken tenders from there. I think that's the first time I had chicken tenders. But I didn't know if you were going to guess this was like a tie. Spaghetti Warehouse.
Oh, I didn't know Spaghetti Warehouse.
Yeah.
Damn, those are deep cuts.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't go to those places till I was like 13.
They would send you a postcard when you were a kid for your birthday. It said like, happy birthday, come in. And so I'd be like, oh, we have to go. Like, and
Aw,
so,
They
that's
personally
fun.
invited me.
yes.
They remembered my birthday. All right. Cassie, your question for Austin.
If I opened a restaurant, what kind of food will I serve?
Good food.
I'm sorry. If I opened a restaurant, what kind of food will I serve?
Pizza.
Oh, I don't even know that answer. I was
Come
so
on.
I was thinking.
Wait. Okay, so I would have said something bakery related, but it says restaurant, so I'm assuming like no desserts, no pastries, nothing like that, no cupcakes. I'm just assuming like food, so that's why I said pizza.
I don't know if pizza's the right one, bro. I think I would have said hamburgers.
Oh.
I can't make pizza.
Why?
Because I can't make pizza.
You can't make pizza.
No, not good pizza.
Well, she makes a killer hamburger, apparently.
I guess.
All right, no points.
All right, no points.
All right, babe.
I'm sorry. What's the score?
5-2.
Okay, that's what I got.
Would I prefer Coke or Pepsi?
I hope Coke.
I'm laughing because these are not hard questions.
I know, I picked really hard questions.
Would I prefer Coke or Pepsi?
I picked Coke. Please
Coke.
don't say Pepsi.
Coke is correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. That's too easy of a question, but
You're still losing. That's fine.
okay. Thanks, Austin.
What is the strangest thing I've ever eaten?
Oh, that's a good one. Give me a second. I don't know. Have you tasted like alligator? Is that strange?
Is that your final? Because you're asking, or is that your
yeah.
final?
Yes.
No, alligator was not what I had in my mind.
Oh.
But yes, I've had alligator before.
Hold
That's the
on,
only thing
Jess.
I can think of.
What did you have in mind, Jess?
I was just thinking like Fiesta, so like frog legs. I think that's kind of weird.
I don't think that's weird to him though.
Austin, what's the answer?
I was thinking fried lump.
Oh, damn, that's a good one.
Did you say lump?
Yeah, lump.
Even he didn't know what it was.
I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but I ate it in China.
Oh, that was so funny face. Okay, go.
Okay, you should get this.
Oh God.
If I could get on a plane to anywhere in the world, which I don't like to do, where would I go?
I know the right answer.
I don't know.
You do know.
I do.
Well, I think you do, but
Australia.
that's correct.
What were you thinking, Cassie?
The same thing. Yes, that's correct.
Hmm.
Since the 4th grade.
All right, Cassie.
That's a long plane ride.
Yeah.
How do I like my coffee?
At the moment, decaf. But when we go to Starbucks, I feel like on special occasions you like a caramel macchiato.
Mm-hmm.
But just standard macchiato.
Is that right, Cass?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's too easy. Okay, babe. Would I choose another easy question? Would I choose for breakfast eggs or pancakes?
I don't think that's easy.
It is because it's 50-50. It's not like pick a continent.
I would say eggs because you eat eggs more often.
I would choose to eat, if I had both in front of me, pancakes.
Okay. You're not a carb guy, but...
What? I love pasta.
Yeah, pasta is your exception, but you're not a bready guy.
I love bread. All right,
Don't.
Austin, here we go. Last question.
Would I rather live in a place that has 4 seasons or live in a place that's the same season year long?
Ooh. I don't
And
think
what
we've
is
ever-
that season he would love to live in? If that's the answer.
You can't add in questions.
I can do whatever I want.
So I think he would... That's a hard one. Even though it's 50-50. I think he would rather have all 4 seasons.
Yes, I'm going to agree 4 seasons.
Okay. Babe. Oh, yeah.
What is my favorite holiday?
Oh. New Year's?
No.
I was trying to think. You like fireworks. What is it? Thanksgiving.
Easter.
Oh, because of the bunny.
Because of the bunny.
Okay. Dang, we're going to lose.
Yeah, we're gonna lose.
Cassie, your question to Austin.
What is the longest road trip that I've ever been on?
What, 8 hours?
So I don't know how long. How long does it take to get to Florida?
Oh,
More than an hour.
like 19 hours.
Oh, I guess we drove together there. All right, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, no point.
I guess. Y'all drove there? I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
2011 for Christmas.
Okay, lastly here. What is my favorite season?
I would say you're confusing. I would say I was gonna say summer because of your birthday, but I would say winter because you like the cold and presents.
Fall.
Why fall?
Because I like those days where it's sunny and cool, not freezing cold in the winter.
I feel like there's not very many fall days like that in Texas, but I accept your response.
That means she doesn't accept it.
All right, so what's the score?
I count 7-4.
Wow.
Yeah, John got Celebrity Crush and Australia, and then I got Coke and laundry. So we had 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I got 7-4.
We have a lot to work on, babe.
Well, I don't know why you would pick pancakes over eggs. You eat eggs all the time.
That's all that we have here. All right. That's it, huh?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, that's going to do it for us today then. We loved having Jessica on the podcast. Thanks for being here, babe.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This podcast is probably going to be a little bit longer than usual, so thank you guys for sticking around and hearing what we have to say this past extended weekend. If you guys want to check out the YouTube video, check it out. Austin's going to be putting it together, and it should be a little bit better than last time.
Don't promise the people things. Improvements will be made.
Yeah, improvements will be made. Other than that, you guys can check us out on our social media.
At 3RD Live Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube. Check us out, like, rate, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Do you want to do a John Mike Scripes for him?
Ooh, that'd be good.
Great.
Let's end this with
One of yours?
No, your own. What's your grape?
About John. Don't sugarcoat it.
How do you pick one grape?
Not about me, just in life.